Okay, so I've got hold of the Hoover HFC324U, which is not too dissimilar to my old G-Tech in design and style. But where it is different is the G-Tech is a carpet sweeper, whereas this actually has suction. So as well as sweeping, it has the suction, and also you can use tools with this Hoover as well. So we'll come to that in a minute. But let's do a porridge and cookies test first. Okay, so I was recently asked what cookies I use for my vacuum cleaner test, so I thought I'd show you the packet. These are well out of date. My kids grew out of them a long time ago, found them at the back of the cupboard, decided to start using them for the test just out of interest. They're not particularly small for a vacuum cleaner to pick up. I mean, they're not like normal cookies, but it's just, for me, it's an interesting test that some vacuum cleaners can pick them up. So if you're looking for something that picks up larger items, that's an option. But I realise that in most cases that isn't an issue for anybody. So it's more about the porridge than the cookies, but it's just something I started doing, and I've still got some out of date ones left, so I've got a few more vacuum cleaner tests with these to go. Okay, so we've got different settings on here. We've got power, we've got carpet, and eco. So eco lowers the suction considerably. Carpet turns on the brush roller, which is pretty obvious. So I'm going to use this on carpet mode, so with full suction, because obviously it's quite a test to do. So let's see how it goes. Battery is fully charged, as you can see if you press the battery status button. Okay, so you can see there's a line of cookies there. Let's just try and lift it up onto it, because obviously it's not raised enough to be able to pick it up. So let's try that. So if I can raise... Oh yeah, you can raise the handle, which is good for the tool. They're all gone. God, I wasn't expecting that. I'd had my own preconceptions that it wasn't going to pick it up. Now obviously I have to lift it up onto it, and it's a heavier head than some of the others. I can see it's raised. It's nice to see it's got these wheels to raise it up a little bit, but obviously wasn't too high for the cookies. But actually, plonking this on top of it, it did eat all the cookies up. So yeah, that actually went better than I thought. Now what I want to do as well is try the low power mode, because the low power mode to me sounded very quiet when I first tried it. So I'm going to try it just with porridge. I'm not going to try the cookies on that bit, and see how it does it. So I'll release the bin and reuse the porridge I've already got. Yeah, so the hole where it goes through, not a bad size. It didn't crunch up the cookies, and it took them right through, so that was better than I thought. So let's try this on eco mode now. Brush roller on with eco. Now that seemed to work well. I'll try, I mean the brush roller is obviously designed for carpets, so let's try the eco suction without the brush roller on a hard floor and see what happens there. Right, so hard floor. There you go. So this is on the laminate flooring now. Getting used to putting this back in. Let's see. Let's try and make it look a bit smoother than I did before. Yeah, so that it actually clicks in fine, so that goes in all right. So, eco mode, so you can hear it's a lot quieter. kind of pushing it around a bit. Just see if that's on count. Yeah, it's kind of pushed that bit around a bit. Let's go for high power. Okay, so I think this is performing a lot better than I was expecting. It picked up, I mean, on the low power, it really doesn't have a lot of suction. Something like the porridge, you would have to put it on high power, so you're going to get less battery life on that. But it's quoted up to 90 minutes battery life, which is a really long figure. But I'm guessing that's because the suction is really quite low. And I'm guessing that's without the brush bar. Doesn't really tell you much in the instructions as to how they attain that figure. So it'd be interesting in real world tests to see how it was. But unlike, say, on the Dysons, where I would happily use them in low power, I wouldn't really tend to use this in low power because I think they've cut it that bit too low. But actually, as a cleaner, I mean, you're still going to get a reasonable battery life with the higher power and the brush bar because it's got quite a substantial battery. So yeah, that was a lot better than I thought. So let's try and get a bit closer to show how certain things release. The battery releases very simply and goes on really quite nicely as well. No issue with that. The dust container comes off quite well actually. And there's a little, so you can see what's contained in there. And then you just press this button and then that drops open. So you can see that drops out. And there's quite a bit in there from my testing, as you can see. So that closes up nicely. This, all you have to do is just make sure the arrow lines up. So, lined up, and then just give it a click. So that clicks in quite reasonably. So the brush bar is you just clip here and then pull out. So very, very simple to remove the brush bar. Doesn't feel as solid as some other options, but it's certainly easy to do. Okay, so you get 3 tiny Phillips screws, and this is the top bit that you'll need to put on for the hose. So let's pop the screw in that one. So you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver if you want to put the tools on. Not if you need to use it initially. There's not an urgency to be able to do this, but obviously that's part of the design, is what you're going to need to do. Okay, the second clip is this one, and that's going to go into here, like so. Then the hose fits over the top, like so, and that all clips in. And then this part clips in the back. Must be this way, I guess. It looks like there's an opening for that. Okay, so now we've got all the tools mounted on the machine. Just to show you how quick you can switch between the carpet mode and the tools mode. So we open that up, and that's easy enough to open up. This part has a special cutout, and you twist it. So that means that's got a good hold on the machine. And then the next part is to take the wand out, and there's a button on the back, and then this just opens up and pops in here. So then you can see that that's in a mode that can then take a tool. So then if we pull this one out, you can see that this has got the tool on it. And let's see what it does with let's go with this end round on this porridge and cookies and see what the suction is like. There we go. There's obviously a lot here. And I'm going to put it on ordinary first. Eco mode. It is picking up. So there is suction there. It's surprising how quiet it is, really. I suppose part of it is because it's further away from you than some other designs, because the motor is on the floor. So let's switch it off eco mode. Okay, so just having a close look at the filter. So you twist, and then pull out, you can see that it's got this very, very thin sponge and then like a fabric filter. So compared to other cleaners on the market, I don't know how good that filtration is. I don't see any other filtration on the machine at all, so it looks like that is what's between the motor and the dustbin. And there's, if you look really closely, you can see it's actually just a cable tie holding this bit on, and I wonder what the longevity of that would be. But then I guess when you replace the filter, you probably get this whole bit. I haven't looked into that yet. But yeah, that's the only filtration that I can see. So if anybody would like to leave comments on that, I'd be interested to see what other people have thought of that. Just an extra point, I've just noticed in the box, there was a couple of these sort of strips, which look like they, I can't see anything in the instruction book, but it looks like they slide into this part. And I don't know if that's going to be a positive really, because what you're doing is you're lowering this part of the cleaner, so it would increase suction because the area is getting smaller, but it's going to cause more resistance for things coming in. So I personally think I'd probably leave that off, yeah, because when you look, that goes lower than the wheels, and I always like to have a bit of space, a bit of clearance here, and I'll go back to my Dyson for that bit. So there is some space, so it kind of channels things under. The wheels actually lifted up on that design. As I say, the porridge and cookies test, it did well, and it picked up the porridge off both things. That's going to push a lot of things around, especially on the low power mode. That's not going to be as good. So I would say, well, it doesn't say anything in the instructions. Well, I've only had a brief look at the instructions. I haven't got a long time to do this test. But I would say I'd probably leave that out, because the performance on it without it was actually pretty good. Okay, so the positive I like about this design, now as you probably know if you watch my videos, I've got a V7 and I love it. It is my choice of vacuum cleaners. From a price to performance point of view, how versatile it is, I think it's great. Now you can see straight away that the head is much lower on this style of cleaner, because all the bulk in this cleaner is at the bottom. And it's low to this point, but if you want to go beyond this point, then obviously it raises up quite a lot. So you're not going to get under, it wouldn't get under this sofa, which is quite high. So that's a negative towards that sort of design. The big positive towards this design is that I hand this to people sort of for demonstration and just to try it. My mother-in-law's got a V6, she's tried this as well. The weight on this style of design is on the wrist. Now the V7 is actually pretty light on the wrist, but some people can't cope with it, and some people will try it and say, oh, it's too heavy. Now if they say that straight away, rather than cleaning for 10 minutes, then you know that that design is not for that sort of person. So in the case of this design is incredibly light on the wrist. So it's not as versatile for going under things, but and also if you need to pick it up, actually it's quite a weight to pick up to go over things. But again, that was for the cookies. Most things it's going to pick up fine as is, plus you can use the tool with it, and I'll come to the tool bit in a minute. So there are definitely merits for this sort of cleaner on the market. For me personally, I would definitely choose my V7 because I don't find an issue with the weight, and I really like the fact that I can get it as small as this with a tool on it, whereas obviously this machine doesn't go very small at all really. It's a different style of machine, and for some people this is going to be the ideal machine. Now for stairs we have a bit of an issue, because obviously you're not going to carry that and do that upstairs. That would be a really awkward task. So tools wise, what do you get with this cleaner? Well, we have here, there's like a brush tool and another brush tool and a crevice tool. There you go, but that crevice tool is incredibly short, and this is going to impede it from getting in between areas, so I don't know what I think about that. The brush tool, yeah, that's fine, but I can't see anything that I would particularly want to clean stairs with. So maybe this is more suited to someone who has a bungalow, hasn't got stairs, because I personally wouldn't want to clean stairs with that. You can't really lift that up sensibly to clean stairs. I guess that's the bit that I'm not as keen on. So the tools, I mean, it's nice that it's got an option for the tools. My G-Tech, which I had out earlier on, didn't have any tools at all, so it gave you no option. And I suppose you could say Again, for something like a bungalow where everything's all on the same level, you're going to do the bulk of it with the machine in its traditional way, and then this is just for the occasional job that you may need to use the tools. But that's where I guess this design doesn't quite work as well as something like the Dyson, where you literally just clip it off, clip a tool straight on it. Much more versatile. You can take this in the car. If you're going to clean the car with this, well, to be honest, with these tools, I wouldn't really go with that. But you can also, another thing I noticed, the battery comes off. So if you want to charge it, you can charge it wherever you like. So this just pops in here, and then you plug it in the main. So that's quite nice that the battery comes off and you can put it somewhere separate. You can leave this in a garage or a utility room or something like that. So as a machine, I'm actually pretty impressed. I wasn't expecting to be impressed, especially as it seemed so quiet on the eco mode. I didn't think it was going to pick up anything, but certainly on a hard floor, picks it up fine. I think I would end up using this on high power pretty much all the time if I was going to use it. The tools aren't such an elegant solution as I'd like. I guess being used to a V7, I think that kind of gets it right, apart from people who have issues with the weight on the wrist. So where I would definitely recommend this is if you don't have cause to use the tools a great deal. The tools are easy enough to use, but then they're just not as convenient as on other machines. But from a point of view of vacuuming as a machine, in this mode, it doesn't add a lot of weight onto the wrist at all, and the pickup was good. So as a machine, again, I always like something a bit different. I like the fact that they've tried a different design and really tried to think about different things. And I think in some ways it definitely works, and for the right customer I would happily recommend it. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.